Hey, I'm Jeannie Robertson. You want a Cavett story about the great Cavett Robert? I've got one. I came to the first NSA convention of my life in the late 70s. I'd already been speaking 16 years. I didn't know a person at the NSA meeting, except Ty Boyd. He's from North Carolina, and he told me I just had to go. Ty was leaving with his suitcase as I came in the hotel saying, "Sorry, Jeannie, I've got a speech. I'll talk to you later." I went into the first session, still hadn't seen anybody, got there a little late, and there was an empty seat next to a short, little bitty rotund type guy there. Not really, well, he was great, and he introduced himself and moved for me to come and sit down. It wasn't Cavett. I'll get to that. It was Ira Hayes, the late, great Ira Hayes, who was also a president of NSA. He said, "Have you met my friend, Cavett Robert?" I'd never heard of Cavett Robert, but I said, "Hey," and the man shook hands and we started thinking. And I will tell you, I looked down at his name badge, Cavett, and I thought his mother must have been on heavy meds when he was still, who names Cavett? I'd never heard the name. Then they turned to another guy behind us, said, "You gotta know this guy, Bob Murphy." I reached to shake his hand. He had one arm. He talked about it in his speeches. He's the great late Bob Murphy. But I had to go through all of that. We were all laughing and having a good time. I felt right at home. All of a sudden, they took the time to make sure that I did. When that session was over, we stood there for a few minutes talking. They asked me more about what I did, and I left. I don't even remember eating supper. I probably just grabbed something and took it to the room. But the next morning, I went to the scheduled breakfast. And I remember that when I walked in, there were rounds everywhere of 8 to 10 people at each table. Again, a sea of people that I didn't know, but I thought, well, I'll meet some more people. At that moment, I saw these three guys. There are none of them with us today. Great people, Ira, Cavett, and Bob Murphy, signaling for me, they're talking to me, to come and sit with their table, which was a whole lot nearer the front than I could have ever gotten. I sat there with them the entire breakfast. And looking back on it, I realized they were talking about me. They asked me questions about my career and what I wanted to do in speaking. We couldn't do that in the session the day before. And when the breakfast was over, the great Cavett Robert came up to me and said, "You've had a great 16 years, but big things are getting ready to happen for you. You're going to be fantastic and take over this profession." I didn't realize Cavett said that to everybody. We talk about the spirit of Cavett. There's an example. Even back then, his spirit had spread to others, and everyone was made to feel welcome. Well, tell us about you. What can we do to help? What are you looking for here? I think it's just as prevalent today at this particular meeting. You wait and see.
Cavett never made big money in our business, but he had the biggest heart. He was the biggest encourager of anybody I've ever known, and of anybody I think I ever will know. If it wasn't for him, NSA would have taken a long time further to go and to grow. And anybody that missed out on getting to know him missed out on a great man.
I met Cavett Robert in 1984, right out of high school. Okay, a few years out of college. I met him at SWAP, Salesman with a Purpose, and was so taken by his talk, "You can't heat an oven with snowballs," that I invited him the next day to speak to our SWAP organization. On the way to the airport, he told me that I had a unique style and that I should be a professional speaker. At the time, I didn't realize he said that to everyone. Lucky for me. Cavett was one of the world's greatest cheerleaders, and it was his abundance mentality, the give away your trade secrets to everyone, raise the profile of professional speaking, thus increasing the size of the pie for all, which is Cavett's greatest legacy.